green hammer, we'll see. I mean, it is at the upper Bollinger Band on the monthly, but could continue. Certainly. Let me see. Let me just make sure my video rate is coming through okay. I shouldn't have anything else delaying this. Give me 1 second, guys. Just make sure everything's going through okay. YouTube not receiving enough video. Hold on 1 second. Seems to be okay. Maybe the internet's just going a little slow. I can't really tell. Video output low. Should be okay. I'm not showing any drop frames or anything like that. So we'll just keep trying here, and hopefully everything's okay. So anyway, so here's the monthly chart. So that was a monthly chart. So here's the weekly chart. Remember a couple weeks ago we had an inside week, right? That week got tested, right? The high of that week, and then it kind of launched up off of that. Wasn't that quite that easy, but gave a nice hammer the prior week, and then got follow through last week with a nice close on the highs on Friday. So that was a pretty smooth week, and now we gapped up today to give us all-time highs here, and then kind of came back in a little bit. Here's a look at the daily chart here. So really similar. Today is a Monday, very similar to last Monday. Kind of just kind of small red hammer, kind of narrow range, 9.03 points. Actually, really super narrow range day. It might be the narrowest range day in a very long time. This here was 9.97. So yeah, very narrow range day. In fact, most of the range was within like this 3 to 4 points here of the bottom tail, which we'll take a look at in a minute. Okay, yeah, okay, things look like it's coming through fine now, good. All right, so so from there, this is what we looked at today on the SPX. Again, these levels, we give these to our private Twitter subscribers. So here we go. So the majority of the move from this R1 level was completely rejected at the open, where we opened basically right at R1, missed it by like 4 cents, and then they pushed it down right at the open, right? So that got kind of a little bit scary at the open. You had like Amazon kind of flushing down, a couple of the big names that were gapping up this morning, kind of took a big drop. And then, we got into chop session right here. So between the prior day's high and close, and then the daily pivot level of 3,009 and 85 cents, right? So basically just 12, well, not even that much. So like 8 away. So, I mean, really not that big a range. And so, again, we just kind of chop between the prior day's high, right, and this daily pivot all day. A couple nice moves. I mean, there was some definitely moves to be made on the SPX, but not as much as maybe some of the individual names. So, big look at here the daily picture. Let's take a look. So just tweeted this out not too long ago, but just kind of see where we're at. Is we have now pushed above this pitchfork midpoint line, right? We talked about this yesterday. This is the channel that took us all through 2018, right? High, low, all the way back up to the high, kind of this little double top right here, tag, breakdown, right? Test the channel again, works its way back up, pitchfork median line, test up to the midpoint line, down to the median line, Andrew's reaction line right here, and then all the way up to the midpoint line again. So now we're through it, and we're getting really close to the top of this channel, right? Top of the channels would be about, 30 something. So we're getting pretty close to that. So we'll see if that serves as resistance, or if it, kind of tests it like it kind of did here, and then, kind of works its way back up through it, and then tries to get to the top of the pitchfork area. So we'll see. In the meantime, the trend is up until proven otherwise. So that is kind of what we are looking at right now in the market. So pretty exciting. We've got earnings week starting this week. Citi gave its numbers today. It had overall like decent numbers. I think it had some statements in there, in their earnings report that were kind of blah. But either way, we took advantage of this today. Nice 15 orb setup today. Very profitable trade. Here's your 15 orb high and low, right? We got a nice price action bar right here on the 15 inside bar, held by this volumetric resistance line. Then we took that up really nicely. And some subscribers, took this all the way to the 15 orb break, which was great. And then it kind of held that level for the rest of the day. So for the most part, it looked like it was only down 6 cents on the day. But if you take advantage of the price action within it, right, you can see some really profitable trades. Microsoft, on the other hand, has earnings this week. It was kind of choppy all day, so I'm not surprised that it closed at 0% gain. It may as well not have even traded today. It was just like this all day. there were some momentum indicators that we looked at that really didn't show that this was really going to do anything today. Zoom had a big breakout today, and Netflix took the 60 anchor down from the game plan yesterday. So that was another big move. Inside 60 anchor right here, took that right down at the open. So that kind of takes us where we're at now. So today, I just want to kind of move into kind of section 2 here of this week's discussion about stops. This is kind of a obviously, we talked about the other day, we talked about how important stops are, just to keep you safe in your trade, right? So yesterday we talked about trailing stops, how to set that in, Thinkorswim or whatever your, trading software is. It's important. Some trading software does not offer it. Some don't offer stops at all, like Robinhood. But they're really, really important, right? Especially if you're trading options, right? Because options can move really quickly, and it's premium, right? There's theta in it, and they can go to zero, right? I mean, if the stock completely pulls against you, I mean, depending on where you're at, if you're out of the money, you can completely, lose the majority of the premium on the options, right? So, a lot of times it's important to have stops, especially on options. Stocks too, of course, because you want to preserve your capital. But options, because such a big percentage of the amount of the option can decay. So when we look at trades, let's take a look at C today. So let's look at Citi. So when you're trading these, right, your stops, right, what you can do is you can trail bar by bar, right, and the further out you go in time, right, essentially the more risk you have on, but the more potential reward you have. Okay, so let's just take an example. Let's go to SPX just because it's fun to talk about. So let's go here. Let's kind of zoom up to this level right here. So when you're swing trading, or if you're an investor, right, you look at the quarterly chart and just kind of see what's happening here. So let's say on the quarterly chart you got really interested in buying the S&P, and you saw that it's very rare to have a 2 red bar pullback, and you saw this 2 red bar pullback here, so you wanted to get back in on the next green bar. So here's your next green bar right here. So you get in at 1268. This is back in 2011, right? So what you do, you set your stop at the low of that bar right there. Okay, so this is your investment plan, right? You want to take it as high as it can go. Next bar is here, right? You're up all the way to 1400, so I mean, not a bad place to take profits. But if you're trailing bar by bar, you're good here, you're good here, you're good here, you're good here, here, and you don't get stopped out until 1900, right? So you see the difference. The bigger the time frame you are, as long as the trend is good, right, you can usually stay in longer. You have more risk, right? Because let's say you entered here at 1254, your stop is at 200 points away. That's an investor's type trade. Right, so when you kind of zoom down into the lower term time frames, right? So when you're kind of maybe a more long-term swing trader, right? You can move to the monthly charts, right? So you see if you like the inside bar here on the SPX, the inside month, right? You can take it long the next month and keep a stop here, right? Then move your stop, and then you get stopped out here. So your entry basically 27.10. Your stop is at 28.47. So a nice 147 point move, right? So that's the essence of trailing bar by bar, and all you do is you just move your stop to those levels each bar, and then your risk goes down the shorter time frame you get to, right? So here's your weekly chart. SPX, bullish engulfing week right here, right? This is, it's a long-term swing, right? You're going all the way from June, now you're in July, so you trail bar by bar by bar by bar, right? By bar. So here, this entry, even off of this bar is 2084, all the way up to 3008. I mean, so that's pretty impressive, right? As long as the candlestick setup that you're looking at, or the style of setup you're looking at makes sense. So, but as you go, further and further down, right, the riskier, less risk, but more chance of getting stopped out. Right, so let's say you like the inside day on SPX and you want to go along there. So you're at 29.30. Move your stop here, okay, and then you move your stop here. So you go from 29.30 all the way up to 29.78. You get stopped out on this bar because it takes you out by that bar, right? And so that is the essence of trailing bar by bar. The smaller time frame you get to, the more you want to capitalize on, but the less risk you have. The further you go out, the more chance you have of staying in the trade, but you have a little bit more risk, right? Because the bars are bigger, right? And so so that basically went from 29 to 29.70, so basically 50 points on that one. So you can see the smaller you go, right, the more risk you have. So your hourly chart, an example just like today. Say you like this hammer on SPX, right? So, you enter the hammer here. Okay, you're good. You're safe. You're safe. You're safe. You're safe. Oh, you get stopped here. So you got an entry at 3006, and you're out at 3010. So it's a 4-point move versus a, 30-point move, whatever the case is, depending on what time frame you are. But you have to have a bigger risk threshold. In other words, probably better to have, to put less money on, because if you get stopped out on a bigger bar, right, that's going to be a lot more painful and the same amount of actual risk that's placed on the trade. So that's how we look at it. And then when we trade intraday, right, we look for certain trades. So if you're just on C, right, you can kind of, this is how you have to gauge how much you're kind of putting on a trade, right? You want to so here, so you enter off of this inside 15, right? The break here, the upside is 90.72. Now you're looking in the cents, right? Now you're risking 60 cents on that. Then you move, and then you're out here at 71.62 from 70.95. So maybe it's only a 70-cent move, but with options it can be you can get a they can move exponentially with that. So just depends on the risk threshold. And actually kind of interesting here, this is almost like a Morningstar setup, right? Because it kind of came down, right? And this didn't quite close 50% of the range, but it still was a nice kind of reversal type move. So anyway, that is the essence of trailing bar by bar. And again, it's the same with options. With options, you go to the option chart to kind of see, just so, so a city, just for instance, if we looked at today's expiration, so you look at C, again, this is even smaller time frame or smaller dollar amount. So you're at, let's say you're at the 17, so 19.0719, and you look at the calls, and let's say like 72 calls on Citi. So we'll look at the same 15-minute time frame. So let's say your entry here off of this bar is 45 cents, then your stop is below here at 29 cents, and then you go, then you move bar by bar by bar. So you make it to 70 cents from 46 cents. But look on the options, that is almost a double, right? So I mean, it is so when you're trailing, that's how you look at it. So if you go to the 5-minute time frame, it's a little bit riskier in terms of the volatility and the movement of the options, right? So you have more of a chance of getting stopped out. So if you take the high off of here at 37, you're up here, but you move your stop here to 38, so you really kind of got stopped out right away, right? So you need to be able to gauge, what time frame makes sense for the option and kind of basing on that flow. And so you can see here, you get stopped out almost right away, but when you go to the bigger time frame on the option, right, you can stay in the trade longer, right? So almost a double just off of that. Right, and then you have kind of target levels and kind of your, all sorts of different strategies that you can do, to manage your options and all that stuff. But I think it's important to even to drill in and look at the option chart. So a lot of charting software doesn't have that. It's nice, Thinkorswim can do it, but it is important, especially if you're trading options. So anyway, that's all I got. So hopefully you guys find that helpful. And at this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug those into the chat window, and we'll get to as many as we can. Try to wrap up by 10:30 so we can get an awesome night's sleep and be prepared for a great trading day tomorrow. We've got JP Morgan reporting tomorrow, Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs, and Domino's Pizza. So there you go. All in the same boat, trying to deliver something. Anyway, good stuff. Jay, how's it going? You made it. Hello. Harvey, ZM, yes. So ZM and Roku was a special request too from a subscriber. So we'll kind of start with that. But let's take a look at Zoom. So guys, Zoom has been awesome. This was a 15 orb trade from the other day. In fact, here was the 15 orb the other day. It gave a nice inside 60 bar, and this 60 bar was explosive. It was a 3x move as it broke out of the 15 orb trade, right? And then it continued today. I mean, look at this bar, just incredible. A lot of people have been paying attention to Zoom, in terms of IPOs, but this one's been great, right? Everybody looks at Uber and Lyft, but Zoom has just been incredible, and it's actually really good stuff, really good software. So, but yes, this is a huge bar on Zoom today, pretty incredible. Let's take a look at where it's at on the daily. It is basically kind of coming up to really retest kind of these levels right here where it first kind of pushed down. So this 101 level is very possible that it could get to. There's kind of a little bit of a closing gap here. So it could fill that gap. So this closing price here is 102.30. So it could possibly get there, maybe chop around a little bit. But just such a strong bar today, which is really, really great. So nice on Zoom. At this point, maybe it'll give you a little doji, and then maybe give you a doji sandwich to kind of push up from there. And then what else? And then Roku, yes. So Roku. was interesting. Okay, so this was on our game plan yesterday as a short setup or as something to look at, to the short side if the market got weak. And why is that? Well, we put in a high, right? And then we put in a prior pivot. We go to the prior pivot low here, and so that gives you your upward trend line, right? And so we had this kind of break down through the trend line right here, so it kind of gives you a minor pivot. And then it gave you kind of, well, it wasn't an inside bar, but it was kind of a shooting star with the real body contained by the prior body, full candle. And so the real idea is here, if we can get down below this 102, that we might flush, at least test this kind of 100 level, maybe 99. And that's exactly what happened today. Okay, so that push down kind of came here, and look at that, gave a real nice bottoming tail and a strong hammer on the daily chart, which is kind of making this cup and handle type pattern as it continues to hold this level, right, and give you more congestion. It gives you more of a chance for a breakout in the future. So when it's going to do that, I don't know. Obviously, if it goes over today's highs, it could continue. If it pushes and gives us a new high, over the next couple of days, then that'll change this upper trend line to that pivot line, and then the trend will truly be up. And so we'll just have to keep that in mind. So as it gets to kind of this cup and handle type situation. So Roku's looking really interesting, and a great request, Harvey. And I think I might have jumped around. Hello. Sorry, guys, if I skipped around from the top. Harvey, hello. Best kept secret. Good evening. Call Saul. Hey. Manoj, what's going on? Okay, good. I'm glad everything's okay. Paul, what's happening? Yeah, speaking of Twitter. Yes, we will get to. Sorry, guys. My YouTube sometimes jumps around and I can't see, who's. Sometimes it just skips forward in it. Yeah, I mean, Twitter's just been ridiculous, guys. This actually looks a lot like Roku, the Roku chart today. That's kind of that hammer that we got today. So if this is anything like what Roku looks like, maybe Roku will give you a candle like this tomorrow. So that'd be pretty interesting. Yeah, kind of very similar cup, type handle, and then that nice breakout here. I like how it kind of came out of the cloud, held the cloud, and then pushed up. The cloud is a great place to catch, kind of breakout entries and all that stuff. And Twitter is really doing great here. So, it came into the cloud and then it chopped for a while, and very much like cloud action, gave this big push up this day as it finally came out of this mini cup and handle that kind of broke up there. And so, from here, it's got plenty of possible areas it could get to this 39 level, then ultimately up to those levels there. So, so pretty impressive, really, on Twitter. Tough to chase here, though. Good. Yeah, no, I skipped that over. Anyway, glad we got through everybody. That's awesome. So, Jay, hey, and Roku. Oh yeah, and then the next request from special subscriber was SPY. So SPY, obviously, very much like the SPX. Today, let's see. So the range today was 94 cents. Pretty narrow range day. Let's see if we got any 117. So this could have been one of the narrowest range days in a while for the SPY too. Yeah, very, very narrow range day. So, interesting. It's just kind of another case of the Mondays, type thing. So narrow range day. I'm kind of hoping maybe we get a little bit more movement tomorrow, maybe with like J.P. Morgan and Goldman Sachs and the financials reporting. It'll get the market kind of zoom in, give us some more price action intraday. That would be great. So that's kind of what we're looking at. I mean, at the same time, obviously the trend is still up. So here, we can kind of do it wherever you want to. Here's your high. There's your prior pivot. So, trend is up until proven otherwise. Here, you kind of look at it as a potential, kind of bump and run type situation. So if it does break down here, it might get through here. It might start filling some gaps. But, trend is up until proven otherwise. So we'll see how that works. Look for today's lows. If it gets through today's lows, it might start filling some gaps. Heather, good evening. Baba and Apple. Let's take a look. So yeah, I mean, great move on Baba today. This was on the game plan yesterday for potential ones to look at for long, and whenever it gaps over your pivot, here's your pivot high. This is what I was looking for today. I was looking kind of to be in the range, and then a breakout there to get through the cloud. When it gaps above those pivot points, I've seen it too often to say it's not okay to chase these. I mean, because the range here was pretty good. It was 3 points. It kind of pulled down a little bit. Couldn't quite fill the gap. So it's a little tough to get an entry here because it's like, okay, will it come back down anymore and fill that gap? What's it going to do? So it's but Baba is Baba. I like to look at how it likes to jump. So here you got to jump and then kind of a push through the cloud here. So it did fill another gap. So here. So at this point, might get a little bit of consolidation and then try to work its way up. So I would say now the trend is now up now that it broke out of this area. So we have here to here to here. So we'll see how that handles, from this point. And then Apple. So Apple inside bar yesterday. This was actually tradable today. I didn't catch it. It was kind of interesting because I was watching the 60-minute time frame. So your high here was 204. The low today was 204 to the penny. A perfect flat gap fill on that. I mean, just perfect. Right, so let's take a look. I want to show you what I was looking at today on the hourly chart. So we did have a nice inside 60 here, right? And so, wow, so the gap was actually filled right at the open. So it tagged it right there, so that was perfect. So anyway, but we had a nice inside 60 here, broke that inside 60 to the downside, gave a pretty nice move here from 204.80 all the way down to 204.13, which is a decent move on Apple. And then gave you a nice reversal hammer right here for another trade to the upside. So 204.78 all the way to 205.20. Now, just keep in mind it was below the VWAP, so this is kind of a little bit of a rule breaker for me if you're kind of trade that. So, because it's nice when that hammer like this, when the hammer here appears here above the VWAP, and then that gives you a little more confidence because now you know the trend is up because you're above the volume weighted average price. So, so pretty interesting there. But I mean, ultimately, what it did is it took the inside day up, and now it's just kind of working its way back up. You got the upper Bollinger Band here, so I mean it could get up to kind of this 206 range. We'll see how earnings go this week with like Netflix, and Microsoft. It might start to bring the market like a little bit higher if the earnings are good. Call us all. May as well not have traded. I know, yeah. I mean, why even trade it today? It's just don't even open it. It's just zero. Like couldn't even go up a penny for anybody. Goodness gracious. Nudie Poo, what's going on? Can we take a look at NIO and Baidu? Yeah, absolutely. So NIO, don't call it a comeback. $3.39. All right, so here's NIO, guys. So NIO penny stock. Upward trend line is right here. Okay, but it broke down below it. So it gave you a nice minor pivot here. So really the key is it couldn't hold its 50 moving average. So if it gets below these levels here, this was, 332, 332. So 332 is your key level to short, right? So if it gets below that, then you could see a momentum move to the downside. You've got a closing gap to fill right here at around 314, and then another open gap right here in the upper twos with the lower Bollinger Band here. So NIO actually has a very, very bearish setup. In fact, I'm going to add that to the game plan because that's a perfect bearish setup. So nice one there, Nudie. And then Baidu. Let's see. Baidu has been very, very tricky recently. I mean, look at this mess. I mean, because here you've got like kind of lows here. You can kind of put a trend line here. I mean, that actually looks pretty good. It's actually even hitting 3 tops right there. And it's breaking through it. So I would give it a chance. Over today's highs, Baidu might try. Right, it's got a couple gaps that I could fill here, all the way up to 119 at the upper Bollinger Band. So there is some possibilities on Baidu here. Trade war news and all that stuff could send it flushing back down, but a break over today's high could become bullish. And nice ones. Enjoy Life Apparel. Hello, Jason Lug. What's going on? Good to see you. Can we take a look at Facebook, Twitter, and BA? My pleasure, Jason. Let's see. So first is Facebook. Facebook. So pretty neat. I got a question today. I like how. Whoa. Okay, got a question today. It looks like it's possibly doing a doji sandwich here, and I think yes, this is very possible. So you have a big green bar, bullish, fully engulfing the prior bar. So big move on Friday. Inside bar today. Wait, nope, not quite. Off by 3 cents. Still Harami, right? So the real body is completely contained by the prior real body. It's right at this fib arc. Okay, so, and there is an upward trend line right here. So this is your upward trend line all the way from down this area. So the trend is still up until proven otherwise. So basically a break above, today's open could give you a little bit of a push to the upside. And if it gave you a doji sandwich, this would stop below today's lows, could push you through the arc here and then work its way back up. So, Facebook's been pretty hot. It's been pretty interesting. It's definitely on everybody's radar, especially their kind of cryptocurrency, which doesn't seem like it's going to get any ground to it. But it's still moving up. So definitely worth watching that. Or it could be a reversal doji, right? So here, reversal kind of did take out those highs and could kind of start to follow this fib arc down, maybe possibly to the pitchfork level at 195. So just keep that in mind. Twitter, we just took a look at, and then Boeing. Good old Boeing. Always worth a 15 orb, as it always has news coming out, right? It's starting to get old, but inside day to day, nice green inside day to day. If we go to the 15-minute chart, just kind of see the price action today. It did give a couple opportunities to the short side. I mean, like really quick scalp to the downside, but then it gave a little bit of price action here. And I want to show you the 60-minute time frame. So you guys know I love trading the 60-minute time frame, but here you had a nice inside 60 here, a hammer here, and then nice push through the prior 60. Well, actually, this is today's 60. And the nice push through was a 15 orb this morning. Nice push through a 15 orb. It was a tricky trade today, but it was possible to get an entry. There was a shorter-term time frame entry around the VWAP here, and options were about 155, and they did push to about 250. So even on a kind of a slowish moving day, they still got some movement. This will be on the radar for tomorrow with an inside 60 anchor to close the day. So we'll see if that gives us any action at the open tomorrow. Sarah, good evening. Albert, hey, Albert, CMG and Tesla. So let's take a look. So CMG. Crazy day today. Double inside 60, which breaks down below the VWAP, right? Pushes here from 752 all the way down to 747. So nice point, 5-point move there. Turned into a red hammer, broke back into the 15 orb range because I think it was upgraded today, and then give a nice 15 orb here all the way through the range, and then a breakout from 750, a nice 10-point move. So that is some crazy price action on the 60-minute time frame for trading CMG. So where's that going from here? I don't know, but it certainly gave a nice momentum hammer to the upside with basically, I think, is this all-time highs now? Or yeah, so a big move on CMG today. So definitely gets a lot of interest up here. And again, the best place to catch it was down here when it tagged the fib fan line again, and then gave you a bull flag breakout right here through 732. Took you back up here and then gave you a nice 15 orb trade today with some crazy price action within that range. So here it is possible that it continues up, but it's really, really hard for you to buy these hammers, even though it is a nice bullish hammer. I'm just trying to see if it's, it kind of did that bullish hammer here and then pushed up some more. So it is possible. But sometimes it does it like here, and you just get a little bit of movement on it. So not the best, and you don't want it to be a hanging man either, where it breaks down and just kind of comes back to the fib fan line. I do like how it acts on this fib fan line here, so we'll definitely keep an eye on that. And Tesla, good old Tesla. Tesla was a nice 60 anchor from the other day, gapped up for us today, and then gave a big move towards the end of the day. So if we just kind of take a look at it, what it did, gave you a little 60 hammer right here, and then finally an inside 60 bar right over the VWAP. Once you get over that, so you're at 246, and then you just get enter and you trail bar by bar by bar by bar. So that gives you an entry here at 246, and then if you want to take the profit here at 5 points later at 251, you can do that, or just take it when it's at its high, like at the end of the day. So profit up here at 253. So almost a 8-point move off of Tesla today. So where does that bring us? Well, look at this. Here's your cloud break right here, guys. And look at this. This looks just like BABA, right? So you have this downward trend line right here, looking to take an entry, and then it pops up, gaps up right through the cloud, gives you one consolidation. It's kind of what I was expecting for BABA today. And then it is kind of like a little bit of a doji sandwich, which it did do. And then it's a doji sandwich up, and then that continuation move today. Just ridiculous today. Close the gap and then back up. Close the gap and then back. I mean, you can kind of see it right here. Here's your close the other day. Close the gap, retest, back up. I mean, just like perfect price action today. Beautiful on Tesla. Really beautiful trade. So yeah, Fernando, how's it going? And I just skipped over. All right, thoughts on DB? Maybe starting up a wave 3 after wave 2 pullback off the low in June. Let's see. So DB. Ooh. Maybe, yeah. I mean, this definitely looks like definitely a corrective wave right here. So let's see. You're saying some back in June, yeah. So this could be a wave 1, right? A, B. Watch out for a wave C potentially, and then back up, right? So unless because 3 bars is tough to call a wave, but it's so gappy, it's tough to, it could have been, 1, 2, 3, A, B, C in that short range, and then working its way back up. So let's actually just take a look real quick. Just look at the Fibonacci on it real quick. Just want to see where we're at from here to here. So this pullback, this pullback was a 61.8 retracement. So that could be a wave 2, just based on that. And then 1, 2, 3, maybe a little pullback here, 4, and then kind of work its way back up, to finish a wave 3 of 3. Definite possibility. Tough one to trade though, just because of all the gaps, how it's, ADR type stuff. So, but, it can give you some good price action intraday. It's tough, because it's so cheap. Tough. So challenging. But yeah, overall, kind of big picture, that could be doing that. Absolutely. Wendy, good morning. Hope it's a beautiful day over there. Microsoft, well, Microsoft is right there. It's so funny. This was a 15 orb trade today. Had a upgrade this morning, and I was like really pumped. I was like, finally, Microsoft's going to be like a nice 15 orb trade. Gave huge range to open right here, and then just this. So like, okay, great, thanks. So let's take a look at the daily. They do have earnings this week, but I wish it would have at least moved, like at least Netflix moved today. So let's see where it is. I mean, it's kind of like, very, very similar to the market, actually, kind of that red hammer type thing. So, I mean, if it does serve as a hanging man, it might pull back to this 136 to possibly give a chance to work its way up the channel after earnings. So you got that coming up this week. Cyber, yeah, so this has been on a lot of folks' radar. I've been getting a lot of questions about this. And you can see why when you get a big green candle like that. So it could get some follow through. It gets a little bit, lots of big upper shadows and lower shadows, right? So you had a very similar bar here, not as big. It did get a little bit of follow through from that to the upside. The only scary thing is here is it closed above the upper Bollinger Band, with RSI kind of an overbought condition. So sometimes that does mean you'll see a pullback like it did here, a little bit of pullback here, a little bit of pullback. And so that's the only thing that scares. But the Bollinger Band was really compressed to this point, so it kind of looks like it's probably doing some sort of squeeze right now. So it might be, trying to work its way higher. I would, personally, it's hard to chase this right here. I would look for maybe a different candlestick setup, but it seems like once it does that, it likes to chop around for a while. So it really, really is tough to get an entry here. If anything, maybe a pullback to the trend line, kind of here-ish, maybe 133, and then try to go again. But it's so hard to chase up here off of that move. So that's the only thing with Cyber. And then Roku, we just looked at Roku a little bit ago. So, so hopefully you caught that. Session, hello, experience and thoughts. What's going on? Tesla and Roku. All right, well, we just looked at both of those, so hopefully you caught those. Session, Disney bear case. Let's take a look. So Diz and bear case. But yeah, Tesla breaking through the cloud and Roku with the hammer today. As long as it stays strong, it is working on a cup and handle. Potential cup and handle long. Okay, so Disney bear case. All right, so bear case is, what if nobody goes to see The Lion King, right, in America? Which is possible. I don't know. Haven't we already seen The Lion King? So, I don't know. The graphics look pretty good and all that stuff, but it's like, I remember the story, and it was like, Anyway, but, so we'll see. We'll see how, I'm sure a lot of people go see it. Plus, there's kids and all that stuff, so it'll be, and my son wants to see it, so I'm going to end up seeing it. So, it's a good thing they have recliner chairs, right? So, anyway, but, so today, kind of bear case is kind of holding the up again. It's very similar. It's over the upper Bollinger Band. RSI is overbought, so it could pull back, right? So it's been holding this upward trend line really, really well. So if it did, it's at the upper fib fan line here too. If it did pull back a little bit, that actually could give us a bear case to here. And then the movie releases on the 19th, and then maybe after those numbers come out, it gives like a good push up after that type of thing. So otherwise, if it breaks through the trend line, that's where you start to look for bearish, really bearish. You look for a minor pivot, and then we short it, possibly to the cloud. But the cloud is moving up nicely, and it's following it, very nicely too. So, so it may just kind of drift up, higher, maybe 150, type thing. So, but we'll see. Maybe we'll get a trend line test and then a breakout through the fib fan line on that. What else? And then Pan W. Getting into the cloud, I mean, definitely nice. I mean, this is almost like a perfect channel as it kind of works its way up here, right? So here's your high, here's your pivot, then you kind of join it like here, however you want to do it, like that. It's kind of working up this channel a little bit. Might kind of come down, kind of retest the bottom of the cloud, and then that would be perfect for a cloud break. On that, I like the double bottom. I like how it's going to work its way up. I like how it's over the 50 and the 200 moving average. I like how it's starting to change trend, and it's looking really good. So this is definitely something to keep on the radar, especially if it gets over that 222-ish level. McDonald's was a newsletter one to keep an eye on today. Pretty good stuff. Nice hammer. How it closed. I like. It likes these in the middle. It likes these hammers in the middle of the channel, right? I think it gave one like here at the bottom of the channel, and then kind of worked its way back up. But yeah, it's still working its way back up. I've kind of got this whole channel here as a potential wave 3 up. Right, so it's kind of working with the channel. So possible, tag of the upper channel at like 218, and then maybe a short into, into earnings, or maybe earnings is the reason to short, whatever the case is. So, so we'll keep an eye on that. It's okay. Session, yep. Kind of in a summary, it's just just talking about obviously you can go back and look at it, but just trailing bar by bar. So when you take an entry, the bigger the time frames, you have more risk, right? You have a better chance of staying in the trade, and the shorter time frames you get to, the more risky it is. And then, but you also don't put on as much risk for it. So, and we looked at the options and how, how the different trailing bar by bar and options can be, pretty critical, especially if you're looking at the smaller time frames. Wendy, so for option credit spreads, should we put in a stop even though it's already defined risk? Can you show us how to put in a stop for a sell option leg? Yeah, so with spreads, right? So if you take in a credit spread, right, that means you're selling the option. So let's say you sell a like a call spread here. So sell, say like just a vertical. Okay, so you have your risk right here is that's actually your credit that you get, so 1.49, right? And then I have a cash account, so it says illegal there. So I don't sell things anymore. I just trade. But anyway, so the idea is, right, that you just basically would set it the way you want to. So you set your steps on this, the way you'd want to. So I think you can even do it once you have it in there. Let me see if I can do. You can't. I don't think you can set the stop on the order here itself. But what you do is once you have it on, you could set your debit as 50 cents or something like that. So and then you could set like a stop on it at like maybe wherever you might be losing money on that case. So you can do it. I mean, you do it through the monitor tab, and you just kind of right click on whatever open position you have, and then you can just adjust the spread itself like you would normally do. So I mean, you just manage it like you would manage any other position. So yeah, but to put a stop on one of the legs of it is that can definitely be risky, right? So yeah, you have defined risk on it, but you still you don't necessarily want to lose the entire thing, right? So you can still put a stop on the credit itself. And then the legs themselves, you can actually do stops on legs. It get a little more complicated, but it can get really risky, right? Especially if like you sell one of them that's profitable, but then the other one goes against you. That could be really risky too. So oftentimes when we put on a spread, we just trade the spread itself just to be safe. So anyway, hope that's helpful. Anil, what's going on? How are you? Now? No. Let's take a look, see how it's doing. So far so good. Inside day. And I know I've drawn a channel on this. Okay, there we go. So there's the channel up here, right? So kind of tried to break down a little bit recently. But inside day here, as long as it holds this and breaks to the upside, it might kind of work up this kind of minor channel, which is part of a bigger channel. So we'll see if it holds that. If not, then it might come down, test this Bollinger Band here at like 287, and then it, have a little consolidation there before it works its way back up again. Best kept secret. Thank you very much. You have a great evening too. Session. I know you're a little late. We looked at Facebook, but we can kind of run through it real quick here. Bum bum bum. Uh-oh. Sometimes when Thinkorswim has trouble pulling up charts, a lot of times it means that we're going to lose connection, but let's see. It seems to have connected okay. So yeah, so just keep an eye on Facebook here, inside day. If it breaks to the upside, I think this really gives a strong case to get up to that kind of 210, 213 level. If it breaks down, right, it might follow this, kind of fib arc down to that kind of 195 level. So it's not really quite, it's not quite an inside day. It came over by like 3 cents. So it could give a little doji sandwich to the upside or, potential doji reversal. AMD, we didn't look at this one yet. AMD super duper strong as it gets to all-time highs. Well, not is it not all-time highs? Is it? Is it all-time highs? Maybe it is. Maybe it is at all-time highs. Yeah, I think all-time highs. So pretty good stuff. So this was a nice kind of cup handle break. So as long as it keeps pushing, there's people that are short and there's a lot of short interest on the stock. So now once you're at all-time highs, they like to squeeze and get out of their position. So this is possible to get a squeeze to the upside, especially if we get some sort of upgrade. It's really going to knock out a lot of people. So that could be pretty good. Lulu's looking good. Hopefully like a little kind of doji sandwich for us today. So here's your green bar, kind of a little pause bar, and then up would be nice. So kind of hoping for that as it's kind of in a nice uptrend here. And then dry. These are the this is what Darden, right? Hold on one sec. All right, so Darden. Nice little bottom shadow right here. Nice high here today. So the trend is up until proven otherwise. Just be careful up here as it's got a little bit of resistance. It got a little topping tail right here, a little resistance right here. So it might pull back a little bit and then go. Tough to trade on options with Darden, but interesting though. Experience and thoughts. TNDM. Wait, did I get everything? Yeah, I got you. TNDM. Tandem. Tricky. Here was that prior. We looked at this a couple weeks ago, and here's that upward trend line. Kind of broke down a little bit. Didn't give a real huge move, and then pushed up again, right? And then this price action is nuts. Right through the cloud, and then back down again. And I gave you a minor pivot right here. So it's got so many like trend lines here. This is crazy stock, and it looks like it does this all the time. This is really, really tough to trade, guys. Like I would just be really careful with this one. This will drive you nuts. Look at all these wicks, these upper shadows and lower shadows, and it's like it's a cluster. And so so here, if it does break this upward trend line up, that the goal would be for a nice little cloud breakout on the whole thing. So. So just be careful with that. So, yeah, look at all these clusters in here. It's crazy. Anyway, so session, Epi, hearing about Libra or similar tomorrow on watch list. Absolutely, absolutely. Call Saul, Diz, and SWK. No, you're the best. But thank you. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate your support. All right, so Disney doing its Disney thing. We just did kind of the bear case on that, so you kind of saw that potential pullback there, and then up, and then SWK. Stanley Decker. Oh yeah, inside day. That's what I'm talking about right here. Loving it. Inside day, let's do it. Inside day, and then kind of push its way up, upper Bollinger from here to 148. Possibly it'll give you a rising wedge, kind of all the way up to 150. It would be great. Yeah, that's right. There is no bear case. Libra is a crypto wannabe. That's true. And Paul, you are into crypto, so that is cool. Call Saul now. Yep. No. Session. Sometimes looking at the other end of the trade can reveal things your thought. I agree. And no, there's nothing wrong with it. He's just playing around. Because he's long, though. Game Changer, not ATH. Oh, ATH is in the 2000s. Oh, okay, yeah. And on which one? On Amazon or? Nice. But good stuff. Thanks for tuning in, Game Changer. Thank you, everybody. Anil, I guess Shirley didn't pop in tonight, so. We don't get to see her ideas. Albert. So that's going to show. Merck is going to be on the list tonight. So I love this stock. I love this setup. Love this setup. Okay, this is from the newsletter too. So nice downward trend line right here. Right, give you a nice up. Minor pivot up here as it bounced off the cloud. Right, so that's two cloud, and then you got this huge potential of this. So break of today's highs, guys. Possibly to 81, and then another move to the bottom of the prior channel there at 83. Kind of range. And then you got a gap right here. I mean, this has a lot of potential on Merck, and then XOM. Holding up. Where to go? All right, holding up okay. So this is kind of one of the theories right here, right? So that, it couldn't hold the 200-day, but pull back to the cloud. So this is a good area to potentially try. So we'll see how it acts tomorrow. See if it gets into the cloud and starts like filling some of these gaps here. We'll just have to, set like a new kind of like downward trend line on it and look for a break that way. But right now we'll see if it holds the cloud, if it can hold this as support. If it does, then, we could get a nice little push to the upside. So I do like this pullback on it. So that gives, some potential there. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. AMD's all-time highs was in the 2000s. Okay, that's cool. No problem, Neil. My pleasure. Thanks for tuning in. Back in the great tech. I gotcha. Cool. Yeah. I do believe. Yeah, I have no doubt. But the recent highs, I guess we'll go to. So how about that? Nice stuff. Well, good. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate it. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you're new here, definitely subscribe on YouTube. And check us out. We do this every market night. Also, check us out on Twitter. We put charts up and ideas intraday. If you really like us, check out the links in the description at positive-trends.com. You can check us out on our newsletter, and also we do a private Twitter feed too, where we post ideas and do all sorts of fun stuff. So thank you everybody for your support, and thanks for tuning in tonight. And we'll continue our discussion tomorrow. And have a great night's sleep. And remember your risk first, and stay safe so you can stay in the game. And I will talk to you guys soon.